Good morning and welcome to Purpose Driven Finances, where our focus is helping you use your finances to achieve the purpose and plan for your life. And now here's the host of Purpose Driven Finances, Allan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Good morning. This is Allan Molina, your host of Purpose Driven Finances, president of Serwus Capital Management. How you doing this glorious weekend? It's going to be an awesome weekend, awesome time. Hope you have your cup of joe, cup of hot tea, whatever you want to take in the morning. Let's just sit down and talk about helping you enjoy the process to getting to where you want to go. Sitting here with my favorite co-host, Rich Roth. How you doing, my friend?
Morning, Allan.
It's a great day. Man, sometimes I sit here and wonder what we're going to talk about, and you always give me a hard time because I bring in like 12 sheets of paper. But, what are you guys going to talk about, on your Sportsline show since NFL isn't there? And it seems like you're in a kind of a lull period of sports. It's got to be hard.
Well, I mean, now is not bad because we got March Madness.
March Madness. I never think of that.
That's obviously big around here, ACC country. And, I mean, the thing is football's always going. And then as we get into the spring, you've got, some of the local sports, the high school sports, the non-revenue sports. UVA baseball is very good and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool. It's things I never think about.
You figure stuff out. But NFL's 24/7, 365.
I've heard it's the biggest combine ever.
Yeah, I mean, the combine's this week, and then, in the next week or two, it's free agency, and then there's the draft, and, NFL's a, year-round deal now.
Exactly. And so before we get to the show, just, you've probably heard it. I heard the guy from Chicago's going to Atlanta.
The guy from Chicago is going to the quarterback.
Yeah, the quarterback.
Justin Fields.
Yeah. And I heard that Russell was going to go to Steelers.
A lot of rumors. It's a fun time of year.
Allan, that's a pile of manure, but that's okay.
It's a fun time of year.
Yep.
Do you want Russell Wilson?
He'll make a good backup. I'm a Kenny Pickett kind of guy.
You are?
Yeah. We got rid of the offensive coordinator. Now, I can hear my wife saying, Allan, will you please get to finance? We don't want to hear about sports. And but
especially the Steelers.
Hey, exactly. We know the Jets are going to do well next year.
Wow, low blow.
No, it's
low blow.
We just know they're going to do well. Hope is eternal.
Always.
And so that's what makes sports great.
Allan, hope to me is a 4-letter word.
It is. That's at least you can spell.
Not a good one either.
I'm just thankful that sports isn't like it was back in like the days of Rome. My gladiator got killed, So it's a great thing. But folks, yes, we're here to talk about finances, but sometimes it's great to just mix it up and talk about life. And I'm not talking about my golf clubs or, that I'm going to be on Sunday playing in a regional pool qualifier. Hopefully, I do well. And
where will you go if you qualify?
Vegas,
baby.
Vegas. And I'm just hoping and praying that I go, but also, hopefully shoot well. And I want to go to the Sphere. Yeah. That would be awesome.
I've heard it's great. I mean, I don't know if you're a U2 fan. I've heard that U2 is not very good in concert, but the Sphere is awesome.
Well, I've seen U2 twice, and the most recent one was in Dublin, Ireland. Mm-hmm. And
were they awesome? Or?
It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was a good show. So we'll see. Hopefully we get to go and and bless through it. But you'll find out next week.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, sir.
Don't screw it up.
Don't be sinking the white ball. Playing 9 ball. That's what it is. But folks, what we're doing is, besides talking about, letting you know a little bit about us, that we're normal guys, that I'm a normal guy, that's just enjoying life, enjoying my family, have some hobbies. But also, this show is really broken down. I've realized that I talk about things assuming that you know. And realistically, the show's broken up into 2 segments. The first segment is talking about portfolio management. I may not say it's portfolio management, but it's really talking about what to do in your portfolio, because I know so many of you out there are sitting on a 401k, 403b, 457, something that is not being managed actively, and that you basically have the reins. And so my goal is to help you. Or if you're sitting here in Lynchburg and you have assets, you move from New York, Florida, wherever, and you really don't have in touch with your advisor, but you're basically maintaining things, I'm here to help. And ultimately to show you that, hey, we have a process to help you get where you want to go. And then the second half of the show, we're talking about financial planning. And today it's going to be exciting because I'm going to try to go through the process of helping you determine how much risk to take, things to do, things not to do, and be very practical. But back to the first part of the show is portfolio management. And you know, the key to success is of where you want to be in life. You know, what's your dreams and your goals? And, you know, as I talk to people, clients, friends, I've never met somebody that had the same exact, I've never met two people who had the exact same goal. You know, let's say one wanted to retire to Myrtle Beach, the other wanted to retire to Virginia Beach. Or one wanted to go down to Hilton Head, or one wanted to go to Florida. Just because you want to go to the beach doesn't mean it's the same one. I've even heard of people wanting to go to like the beaches in Maine or California. And so when you lived in New York, did you ever go up north to the beaches up there? Maine or?
You know, I went once to a place called Biddeford. It's right near Kennebunkport. It's the next town over, and we went up in the middle of July, and the water was freezing.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
Freezing.
But I heard it's really beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I mean, again, I grew up on Long Island,
right.
So there was water all
everywhere
around.
Right.
So, I mean, we were 5 minutes away from the beach, and that was North Shore, no waves. That was the Long Island Sound. But we'd go down to the ocean quite a bit. So, I mean, there's plenty of water.
Yeah, plenty of water. And some people want to retire to the mountains. You know, how many people go to Smith Mountain Lake or here in Lynchburg because it's such a nice place to live, or at Smith Mountain Lake from somewhere else where the real estate is very expensive and they buy a house. We mentioned that last week. Or
Smith Mountain Lake ain't cheap anymore.
It's not cheap, but compared to some, you know, some places, I have heard of some really nice houses being built in Smith Mountain Lake. You know, but you know, I probably shouldn't share that confidential information I get.
Well, my in-laws are actually staying there right now for a whole month.
Wow.
Which is better than them staying with me for a whole month.
Hey,
they're looking. They live on a beautiful lake in northern Minnesota, but there are lakes all over the place, so everybody's got a lake house. Whereas here, it's just kind of Smith Mountain Lake, and you know, they looked, and you know, I mean, apparently the prices here much higher than up in northern Minnesota, at least on Smith Mountain Lake. Then they looked at Leesville, and I don't think that's quite the same type of deal.
Right. What about Timberlake? That's an option, you know?
Well, I mean, they like boating and not paddle boating.
Right. I don't really know.
Well, Timberlake, you can't have any like power boats.
Oh, you can't?
It's a teeny little lake.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't. I just drive by it.
Canoe, kayak.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of it.
Yeah, I didn't know. You know, it's hard to have a party boat when you're rowing.
Yeah, right. You're pedaling.
Right. That's not any fun. But also I was thinking about where you want to be is like a 25th anniversary. You know, one day I like to take my wife to the Amalfi Coast. I don't know if you've ever seen those pictures, Rich. It's in Italy. I was pricing it out, and I told my wife it's meant to be at least another year. Off season. The rooms are $1,000
a night.
Yes, off season. If you go peak season, you're looking at double that. And I was surprised.
Seems a little pricey.
Yeah, I'll show you a picture. It's beautiful.
Oh, I'm sure
it's
it is.
in Italy, and it's right near Mount Vesuvius and Pompeii, and it's where Pam has always wanted to go. And I'll probably get her an archaeological dig, you know, to go take part in. You know, it's, you know, just trying to find those unique opportunities.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's go dig up something, you know.
You're a true romantic.
And then number 3 is, you know, what about I was thinking about a college graduation that you pay for all your grandkids.
Oh, wow.
You know, that'd be huge. You know, just different goals, different dreams people have. But here's the key. You have to have a process rather than just a portfolio management plan. Because realistically, the reason I say you have to have a process is because what happens if COVID hits and there isn't a process to deal with COVID? What happens if President Biden gets another 4 years? Don't throw the radio. What happens if he gets another 40 years term? How is your portfolio going to deal with that? If we have to have modern monetary theory, it's MMT. It's a new thing, and that debt is relative. It's something I'm not an economist, but I'm going to read into it, and that's really how the U.S. government is operating with modern monetary theory. So here's what I was thinking. The first thing is you cannot have something called resulting. Rich, I don't know if you ever heard of resulting. It's basically, hey, this happened the past 6 months. It's going to happen the next 6 months the exact same way. Or have you ever thought this? I'm going to get my wife this box of chocolates and this bouquet of flowers, the exact same thing I did last month. I'm going to do it again this month. And I expect the exact same response. Generally, that's not going to happen.
People do that?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Every month they buy their wife things.
Yeah, it's something. I've heard it happens.
I'm sure someone out there does that.
Exactly.
Some newlywed.
But just because it happened, it worked last time, doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's going to work this next time. I'll give you an example. In 2023, the Mag 7 lifted the markets.
All right, the Mag 7, explain.
It's basically 7 of the ginormous stocks.
Apple, Google,
Microsoft, Meta, Google,
Amazon,
Tesla, and Amazon, NVIDIA. They lifted up the markets. But what happens if they start doing nothing? Where are you going to get your return from? Here is one thing that I was astounded at. In 2023, 38% of large cap active managers beat their index.
Wow.
That's really bad. I remember, some years it was 55%. I thought that was good. But only 38% beat.
So that's just a little bit more than 1 out of 3 beat their index.
That's pretty bad.
Which means that for 2% of investors out there,
underperformed.
They would have been better off just buying an index fund.
Right.
Better results, less fees.
Exactly. I was surprised about that. And I'll give you an example. I expressed on this show that 2023 we missed a lot of the up moves because we expected the consumer the GDP not to be as good as it was. Mm-hmm. And simply because we did not expect the U.S. government to do $1.7 trillion in deficit spending. And so I saw some stats, if you don't mind me doing a rabbit trail. If the government actually had balanced budget, our GDP would be negative 5%. That's not good.
No.
So 2024, we're in a phase transition. What if I told you, because if you
what does that mean?
A phase transition is where an economy is going from bad to good or good to bad.
Okay.
If I were to tell you of the G20, that's the top 20 countries in the world, by, let me see when it is, third, fourth quarter, most of them are going to be in a GDP that's positive. Whereas a couple quarters ago, GDP was negative in a lot of them. As an example, China. China has made the turn and is actually going to do very well. So my question is, what is your process in order to identify a transitioning of economies? Because if China, Europe, other places do better, then what ends up happening is if your portfolio is all Mag 7 or significantly weighted towards Mag 7, and Mag 7 kind of sputters for the next year because, I've looked at it and I think 3 or 4 out of the 7 say sell. Don't hold them. I'm not telling you to get rid of them. I'm just saying I would reduce your capital gains in there, reduce some of the shares. And so what are you doing in your portfolio, in your process, in order to change with the economy and inflation? Give you an example. If China is turning, how will other assets respond? I wish I'd have gotten you to pull it up. But from my understanding, shipping has more than doubled over the past 2 months. Worldwide shipping from like China to here has doubled. Why is it doubled? Because Europe and China are coming out of a recession and they're getting stronger. What happens if they get stronger? There's going to be more oil used. There's going to be more copper used, more zinc, palladium, all sorts of things. But then also agriculture and metals are going to be used. So if those things are going to be used more, what happens to inflation? And so your portfolio needs to be prepared for those transitions, those phase transitions in those areas. And so why is it important? Because you need to identify where you are going with your plan, but also your portfolio. If you just stay in one asset class the entire time, because I don't know if you remember, Rich, most portfolios are not well diversified. And they don't think of alternative economies like China, Europe, small caps, shipping. There's so many areas. But what it does is helps you identify where you're going, and it helps you identify changes for your portfolio to survive but also thrive. Because what happens if in I think it's April, if they continuously doing CREs, continual, is that what it is? It's not CREs. It's where the government does a continual resolution for spending.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I think it's end of April that if they don't have one passed, it's an automatic 1% cut in all their budget.
Okay.
What happens if the U.S. government is spending 1% less mandatory? How is that going to affect your portfolio? And so you really have to be asset agnostic, not caring what the asset is, but having a process in order to go through and actually maintain the portfolio according to what's happening in real time, not last year or 2 years from now or what you think is going to happen. So, what should we do? First of all, let's meet for a review and check out our process, my process. And, I'll show you dynamic asset allocation. I printed it and I brought it for us. There's probably, I'm thinking about 80 stocks, and not stocks, but asset classes that we follow. To give you an example, mid caps and small caps are starting to break out, whereas large caps, they're starting to have a flat to negative trend. So there could be a transition that's occurring in large caps, small caps. Oil, I've got bad news for you. It's going up. If oil goes up, that means the price you pay at the pump is going to go up. There's all sorts of things we could go through. But what I like to do is sit down and show you, and in the QPM, it changes much more frequently, and we're looking at things and helping people grow their portfolios and change accordingly. And then the other thing is, why don't you test our process? I've had clients do this. They're like, Allan, I'm going to retire in the next 2 years, and I only have 5% or 10% of my portfolio that I can actually test with you. Let's test it. And not that you're my guinea pig, but just to see if the pudding is in the proof. Or is it the opposite way?
Proof is in the pudding, yeah.
Exactly. And so and I'm actually having clients do that. But what's exciting is they see the process, they see the benefits, and they just move assets over. So folks, I know I've gone for about 20 minutes talking about not fishing, but pool and all sorts of things, wives and football. But give me a call at 434-316-0246. Come back to us. We're going to talk about how to determine the amount of risk you should take and help you achieve the purpose and plan for your life. Thank you.
Dan Bongino.
So what would this look like? A massive China, CCP, Iran or Russia cyber attack that wipes out the United States' infrastructure? Folks, it would look a lot like that Obama movie. I'm not telling you to watch it. I just find it awfully interesting that, again, a guy who was briefed on the biggest national security threats to the country found this particular movie so worth doing that he wanted to put his own name on it.
The Dan Bongino Show, weekdays from noon to 3 on WLNI.
I have a solve for that. It's what he does. Tommy Parmenter is the woodsman. His tree removal company handles all jobs. Other tree companies call on him for his tree climbing experience and expertise for the most complex removals. The Woodsman is a veteran-owned and operated company.
That's right. My team and I are top-notch. We can handle the scariest tree job you got. We're properly equipped and more than capable. I'm Tommy, the Woodsman.
And his estimates are your final price. The website is IHaveASolveForThat.com. IHaveASolveForThat.com.
And now, back to Purpose-Driven Finances. Here's Allan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, good morning. Allan Molina again, your host of Purpose-Driven Finances and President of Serwus Capital Management. Hope you took that 1 minute, got you a refill, got fired up, and got some notes, ready to take some notes. Because I tell you, folks, sitting down with prospective clients, even clients that have been with me for a long time, one area that's, it's hard for people to actually quantify is the amount of risk to take. They're like, Allan, just treat my portfolio like you do your mom's. The hard problem of that is my mom has passed away, or do it like yours. Well, yesterday I bought zero-dated options at the close.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably don't want, you're a little bit more aggressive. You have some fun with it. You know it.
Right.
You probably, your mom or your wife or their portfolio, you may be a little bit more.
Right. But the other item is with my, if my mom was, it would be totally different than anybody else's.
Right. Because
it's hers. It's where her life is built around it. And the other item is if you're 90 and you live through, or your parents lived through the Depression, you have a totally different mindset than if you're living at the lake down there, Smith Mountain Lake, and you just inherited $20 million and you're building your dream home or one of your dream homes. Totally different mentality. If you're mooning, that so did not sound
what?
Right.
Huh?
Not mooning. In the crypto world, they talk about.
So you're not talking about running around with your pants out,
right? Not that.
Okay.
In the crypto world, they talk. My wife is like, she just slapped me on my arm. Hit
him again.
Yes. No, in the crypto world, they talk about mooning the assets. Like crypto in the past month and a half is going to the moon, shooting to the moon.
Okay.
So yeah, saying mooning, it didn't come out right. I hope you laughed with me. So here's what not to do. Don't say mooning on the radio.
And we're talking about what not to do.
Right.
With what?
Determining the amount of risk.
Okay. So you're trying to determine the amount of risk you should take in your portfolio. Here's what you don't do.
Here's what you don't do. First of all, don't compare yourself to anybody else.
Okay.
I don't care who it is. And a lot of times if you're working at BWXT, you're comparing it to the guy right beside you.
May have the same job, same salary, same income, same age.
Right.
But there's something different.
Exactly. The person.
Right. There's something different in your life. You may have a special needs kid, or he may have a large inheritance. There's something different.
Exactly.
You can't have the same portfolio.
Exactly. Number 2 is do not respond to unhealthy fear. You should be fearful of a bear. If you're hiking peaks of water and don't go try to pet the bear. But, if you hear the gold ads on WLNI, don't get fearful that the world's coming to an end. Don't be fearful of a possible collapse of all things. Rich, I don't know if you, when you were in the industry, if you heard this, it's never going to be as bad as you think it is, and it's never going to be as good as you think it is. And so you need to be balanced.
And that kind of life in general.
It is.
It really is, isn't it?
It is. And then also don't have FOMO, fear of missing out. Because if you're scared that you're going to miss out, what you're going to end up doing is making really dumb mistakes. I've had prospective clients come in and they decided to bet the farm, and don't do that. Realize that it's a process, and it's
There's a difference between investing and gambling.
It is. And number 3, do not respond to get rich quick investments.
Those don't work.
It's amazing. People, what's sad is so many conservatives get caught up in it, and it's just sad. Don't respond. Don't over concentrate your portfolio. Like, don't go out and buy 50% of your portfolio in NVIDIA. Don't even do 10%. I wouldn't even do 5%. The reason being is, what happens if NVIDIA corrects up, 20%?
It's going to hurt your whole deal.
Exactly. And then don't have an investment plan for your retirement assets or investments with only a 3 to 12 month time frame. Because if you're sitting there and you're like, hey, I like this, I like your process, Allan, I like your plan, but I'm only going to test your investments out for 3 months or 12 months. That's not long enough to see how anything's going to work. And so, you can make changes, but what I've seen is people, they'll go out and they'll buy X stock, and if it doesn't perform immediately, they sell it. You need to kind of let things ferment, let things rise.
So what timetable would you have people look at?
I will look at 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Because you need to have market cycles, yes, you have cycles 3 to 12 months, but they're more really short-term cycles.
Mm-hmm.
How low there's hedge funds out there that trade on the millisecond. And they do that all day long. So it's not really going to help your retirement if you try to do that.
Gotcha.
You need to let things grow and ferment, and I don't know if that fermenting is the right example.
No, we certainly get the point.
Yeah.
You can't have a quick trigger because, things take time, especially in the markets and in the life and in the economy.
Exactly.
So what do you do? If you want to figure out what amount of risk you should have, you just told us what not to do. What should people do?
First of all, you need to have a financial plan. And it's an easy process. A lot of people are not into numbers and math like I am. I frankly get bored at financial planning. And the reason I get bored is because it's so easy. To me, math is so easy. But what ends up happening is it provides answers to people. And as they get answers, and it gives them freedom, it gives them liberty, they can breathe. So I have an easy process to help you do a financial plan. It's a casual conversation that you and I will go through and get the answers and a guide to help you get to where you want to go. Also, it will help you determine what is needed to meet where you want to go. Like, let's say you say, Allan, well, I feel like I can only handle a 15% downward in my portfolio in a year. I think I can only feel. But what happens if you need returns that you need to be able to withstand a 22% drawdown on your portfolio because you need a little extra oomph in the return? And that's what a financial plan will do. And it's an easy process that I can guide you through. Second, Rich's favorite thing, the pillow test. And the thing there is, how much are you concerned about your portfolio if it goes down 10%, 15%, 20%? So you need to balance how you feel, but with what you need. That's so key. And are you comfortable with the process used to pick investments? Is your financial advisor resulting? Are they looking at last year's winners? Do they have a process to sell something? Do they have a process to buy something? Let me show you what I do with clients on a regular basis, hopefully to reach what their goals and dreams are. And then finally, contact me to discuss how easy the process is to help you get where you want to go. Nothing's ever guaranteed, but it gives you a roadmap, gives you a guide to get where you need to go. Give me a call at 434-316-0246. Hope you have a blessed weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Returns for illustrative purpose. This is not a suggestion to buy, sell, or use a platform. Only will a suggestion occur after a meeting to determine goals, risk tolerance, and time horizons. Investments involve risks and no guarantee of future results.